Section 8, the last one on the content of commercial communications, some special rules, so some sections here that have varying considerations. First one, continuing series, so where the customer enters into a commitment for a series of goods or services, a subscription service. Need to be clear with them how often the goods are going to be sent. Again, the full terms and conditions need to be made available before the commitment is made to purchase. The cancellation setup, what is required of the individual. Collectibles, by this we mean collector's items. So here it's important not to mislead on the scarcity, the value of the collectibles, or take advantage of people's ignorance. Marketing to children and young persons, as I mentioned before, we have a new appendix on this that covers the full mediums for which you can market to children and young persons, and every consideration that you need to take into account before doing so. One of the changes that we have made to the marketing and young persons section here in section 8, and is also included in the appendix, is that now we have said, in line with the CAP committee and their code, it is now considered that children are sufficiently aware of their rights and the consequences of providing data that it is now at the age of 12 where they are freely allowed to provide their data to companies, personal data for marketing purposes, without the consent of a parent or guardian. So that has been a change from previously. So now it's 12 years of age where the cut-off point is. If they're under 12, they'll need the parental or guardian's consent before they can actually hand over any personal information. Have a look at this section and the appendix. The things with children and young persons, because they're vulnerable, very impressionable, there's a whole host of considerations that you've got to take into account before marketing goods to them. Other things to bear in mind: contracts, of course, are legally unenforceable for under 18s, so there's no point offering them credit, for example. And also, other no-nos are alcohol, obviously, and gaming products. Important to consider that when promoting these goods, these do not fall into the hands or are available also, depending on what medium you use, to minors. Tobacco direct marketing, as probably most of you know, you can't advertise tobacco now. There are a couple of exceptions. You can market it if you're marketing within the tobacco trade as part of another promotion, or it's specifically requested by an individual, obviously over 18. You can send them promotions on tobacco products, or it's for an overseas market. But in the UK, you can't advertise tobacco products. That's the general requirement, and has been so for a few years now. Charities, we have a section on charities, and the charities are governed by the Charities Act of 1992 and 2006. There is a couple of new sections here in the 4th edition to make you aware of. One on the contributions to charities. These must be made absolutely clear what proportions are going to charities or a charity. And the professional fundraisers, there is a new clause about professional fundraising. Needing, again, information on fundraisers, for whom they're fundraising, and also information on their remuneration and how that might be calculated. Financial services is the last in this section, and if you're a company that's involved in financial services, or be it a client or maybe an agency working with a client on these, you will already be governed by FSA regulations, so I'm not going to go through those. And if you're not sticking to the FSA regulations, you'll probably find you won't be in business much longer. We have included a new appendix in the code that deals with the new FSA rules. This is again a new inclusion, and it's put as an appendix, as well as the general requirements which are in section 8. They'll also deal with the Consumer Credit Acts and of course the regulations that are coming in 2010. There's a whole host of new consumer credit regulations that are coming into effect then. But interestingly, that area is governed by the OFT, the Office of Fair Trading, and not the FSA. There is a note again about these regulations that are coming in 2011, I think February 2011, but companies can, should they wish to do so, begin to comply with them now.